been cooking and operating in downtown LA for about a decade now. I just think it's rad, man. It's a cool place. The intersection of culture, the dichotomy of class, for good and for worse, the grit. As a person that has spent most of my life on the East Coast, when I discovered downtown, I was like, okay, this is my place, these are my people, and this is who I want to cook for. The inspiration for Joyce comes from a collaborative intersection of 4 people, right? You have 2 husband and wife teams, which are the owners. My partners, Prince and Athena Riley, and then my wife, Cassidy, and myself. I grew up in North Carolina. Prince grew up in Chicago, but his family roots from Alabama and Georgia, so he would spend summers in Georgia. All of us have an affinity and a love for Southern cuisine, culture, cocktails, and hospitality, and connecting over that passion and that love brought us together to create the experience that we try to put out there every single day. I like that I'm almost set up. My station's almost set up, and it's 11:01, so we've only been open 1 minute, so I don't feel too behind, right? Because a lot of times you're open all day, you're busy all day, you're always kind of behind. So it feels like we're gonna be ready to go by 11:30, which is good. There's not a lot of food that I throw around like that, but just by nature, the way they form these shells in these cups is they just keep getting beat against each other, beat against sand, beat against the tides, and they grow back and they grow back and they grow back until they form strong, sturdy shells. And that's what you need with a shucking oyster, because if the shell's brittle, then the oyster you eat will be shelly. This is a living creature, so there's a lot of respect here between me and these oysters. I mean, I think a lot of chefs, myself included, we're salt of the earth people. So when we just have the chance to have our hands on food, this is the work that we do. One of these little guys will filter upwards of 50 gallons of ocean water a day. So when this gentleman, Lane Zerlot, plants 40 million oysters in the Gulf of Mexico, you know, he's not just growing delicious, healthy food for people to eat. He's cleansing the Gulf Coast. I grew up cooking in my parents' mom and pop restaurant in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. It was in a strip mall. You know what I mean? It was right next to a grocery store, and it was a neighborhood bar and grill. So we're doing like barbecued pork, Cuban sandwiches. We're doing like crawfish etouffee and red beans and rice. There's no frills unless it's a toothpick, right? This is American food in its most traditional sense, and it is the food that I love to cook. And we had to learn how to handle crawfish, where to source them from, how to smother that and melt that down in butter with your holy trinity, and just pour it over some really great rice. And so that food still excites me to this day. I remember guidance counselor comes into your class in like the 10th grade and they say, you gotta start figuring out where you wanna go to college. You gotta know the rest of your life already. I was like, man, I wanna cook. And I used to refuse to source seafood from Southeast Asia because it's a red zone for unsustainable practices. But then I discovered that these mangrove restorative shrimp, these black tiger shrimp that are being raised in a way that's restoring the mangrove forests in Vietnam, I want to support that. I don't want to blockade these people from a way of life. They're doing a better job. They want to learn and have better practices. I'm trying to support what's considered to be an APE, which is an aquaculture improvement project. This is a whole community of small family farmers that they're scaling up their sustainability to, again, restore their ecosystem, the mangrove forests. And I want to support that. And it's delicious. Hi friends, shrimp cocktail.
Oh my goodness.
It's the fastest thing to bring, so enjoy. Long before I got soul food tattooed on my knuckles, I read about soul food. I researched soul food because I grew up eating it. I would grow up going to black friends' families for Thanksgiving and being like, oh, you all have turnip salad. Like, you know what I mean? You got greens. Like, you know, this isn't what's on our spread. And it was fucking amazing, and it was delicious, and it was different. Soul food is the cuisine of Black America. You have to learn these things, and you have to understand what people went through to create this cuisine. And the food that I cook, a lot of it roots in West African technique and ingredients, right? I mean, we're pulling in bene seeds, which is a wild sub-Saharan sesame seed crop native to West Africa that was brought over by slaves and planted in slave gardens long before it ever became popular to the general public in the low country of South Carolina and Georgia. The Carolina gold rice industry drove slavery for almost a century. I have to try to wrap my head around that, make sure that I honor people's stories, the cultural legacy of where these ingredients are coming from, and who's bringing all this to the table.
Thank you so much for watching our story on Joyce Soul and Sea. Being a successful restaurant anywhere is extremely difficult, so as a passion project for us, we don't charge these restaurants anything to make these films. Everything that we create is totally free. Our focus is bringing you the best food we can from passionate chefs anywhere there is a story to be told. All we ask is for you to subscribe, send a like, and leave a comment if you love it. And as always, this is Only Where to Eat.
We're gonna go to 64 French toast, maple candy pork toast.